everything is choreographed down to the last, and it's also very physical. I jump onto tables, I bend back over to, I mean, I am a physical theatre performer, luckily, but this is the most physical thing I've ever done in terms of theatre. Really it is. But the hook is that I'm a cleaner in the theatre. So you see me first as a cleaner, and I then have a monologue to the audience, not looking at them, so that they can hear, talking about my life as a refugee from Germany. I mean, we don't say it's Germany, but you hear these German voices doing Hamlet at the beginning. Well, and I do a monologue talking about, you know, how I've been an actress in my own country, because they're playing the most amazing parts and know the works of Shakespeare. I talk about my dreams of people, you know, being sunk on boats coming over to England, so it has a slightly political thing of political refugees. You know, that my mother was the lover of the neighbour, and so she didn't come, but he was on the other side. It could be the Stasi or anywhere. But the thing is, it's her sadness at not being able to be herself in another country and not being allowed to give voice to her acting, so she becomes a cleaner. So this particular night, she just says, I'm not gonna clean anymore, finish. And then I say finish, walk over to the dressing table, switch on the lights like that, and make up as Hamlet and put on a white face and hair back, and then I become Hamlet. The first time I went to Tbilisi to do some playing with the puppets and just to do some preliminary work in the midst of a big tour of mine of The World's Wife. Of course the ash cloud came down and I couldn't get out of there, and I had gigs and I had to be in Zimbabwe and I had to pay a fortune to book myself on about 4 different planes to actually escape to get out of there. So then this time in July I went back and we rehearsed it properly, and here we are. So it's an immensely exciting project. Certainly the biggest challenge I've ever done, and I do take on a lot of challenges, but to actually be performing Hamlet and voicing all the puppets and actually working puppets at times myself, because that was what I didn't expect to do, but he wanted me to do that too. So there's 3 times where I am actually the puppeteer as well. So what else don't I do? I move all the furniture. Anyway, it's a technological nightmare, but that's for me to do and for the audience not to see. But I would still say to young people starting out that they really ought to always take it into their own hands, try and, you know, at least be practicing by getting a company together or doing work together, because it's like a dancer. If you don't practice your craft, you forget how to do it. And actors, you know, because they can't really do it on their own, they can't just practice on their own. It's quite nice to get a group of actors or friends together and try things out. So that would always be my advice. I mean, some actors come out of drama school just wanting to be in EastEnders. Well, if that's what they want to do, then that's what I suppose they should do. But that's not what I would want to do. I never have wanted to go down that route. But if they actually want to act, if they want to, you know, be performers, if they want to do everything, there's nothing wrong with EastEnders. That's as a part of your career. But if you want to, you know, work in the theatre and you want to experiment, then I think you have to just do things for yourself. I think the self-motivation is completely important, because, for example, I have to learn every time I do a solo show. I have to learn it on my own before we start rehearsals. We'd never get it rehearsed in 3 weeks, and economically, you can get a rehearsal room for 3 weeks. I mean, if it's my show and it's expensive to get a rehearsal room, you couldn't just do it for 2-3 months just so that you could learn it and have a director. You know, I have to have the discipline to learn it all first, So yes, you do have to motivate yourself a tremendous amount. Otherwise, it wouldn't happen. It's very easy to wake up every day and say, oh, well, I'll do it tomorrow.
And how do you do that?
Just by telling yourself every day, just by frightening yourself into it. Often I do say, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it tomorrow. It's like the VAT. I've been putting that all week. I've only got one day I can do it now, and that's on Sunday afternoon. So it has to be done. I do sometimes leave things for a deadline. But then I don't find filling in the VAT very self-motivating, because it's not particularly a very interesting thing to do.
Okay.
But nevertheless, it's part of my life. I have to do it. Well, to continue, I suppose, just doing the stuff that I want to do. I think, you know, I've made that choice. I seem to be successful in that choice. So I will only do what I want to do. I will turn down other things. I mean, I do television. I just did a Midsummer Murders in the middle of my tour. So, I mean, I do telly, you know, as well, and when that comes up, because it's nice to work with other people. There is my new big venture, and the script is written. not by me, but by a friend. It's something I've wanted to do for some time, and it would be a first-time director is to direct a film. So we're trying to put this in place at the moment, but it takes a long time to get the backing. I want to do it. We'll obviously fund it not too expensively, but it's a wonderful project. The friend of mine who wrote it, it's semi-autobiographical. It's a fantastic script. And I very, very, very much want to do that. So that'll be a huge departure, because that's not going to be easy, but I do want to direct that movie. So that's one of the things that I'll do in the next couple of years.